Innovate, accelerate, move technology forward. The startup revolution is now.
Hey, good day to everyone. My name is Miggy. I'm from the Mega Maxi. And today we're going to talk about how brands will be building in the metaverse. So, NFTs, crypto, Web3, these are some of the hottest topics around the tech space. And as you're going to find out, you'll realize that it is a massive thing. And hopefully, this talk will give you the perspective that you need to get into this space and give you a nice kind of framework on how to decide whether or not your business is something that you would like to bring into the metaverse. All right, so how brands will build in the metaverse. Now, before I jump onto the talk, I want to talk a little bit about myself. My name is Miggy. I have 7+ years experience in digital marketing and e-commerce. That's all I've been doing basically since I graduated. I'm a proud member of the Alliance. So the Alliance is the Web3 arm of Tier 1 Entertainment. They've curated a list of all of these content creators that talk about Web3, crypto, NFTs, and very luckily I was included in that. And you're going to see a lot more content from me in that space. And I think most importantly, I'm a hardcore NFT enthusiast. So I buy, sell, trade, collect, and hold NFTs. This is not just something theoretical for me. I practice many of the things that I'm going to be preaching, and I actually am in this space, right? So, my objective really is to share some of the insights that I see as both as an enthusiast and as a marketer myself, and give brands the framework to be able to assess the space properly. In my love of NFTs and in the opportunities that I've seen, I was really inspired to create the Mega Maxi, which is the premier Web3 media company for the savvy and the curious. So our mission really is to be the hub for insights and ideas on the NFT space. We want our readers to venture into Web3 with confidence and curiosity. And we have, one promise, which is to deliver nothing but quality content and uphold high ethical standards. So we take responsibility for all of our content, and we disclose anything that might affect our impartiality. So if you're interested to learn more about what we do and the content that we have, you can head onto our website at www.themegamaxi.com, or follow us also on Facebook or Twitter. All right, so in this talk, I have three main objectives. So the first one is to share with you basically why you need to care about NFTs. So I'm going to talk about three reasons why I believe that this technology will disrupt business, how businesses operate forever. Number two, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite case studies. So you might not know it, but some of the biggest and most valuable brands in the world are already using NFTs, and I'm going to talk about how they use it and why it's meaningful. And then lastly, I do want to end the talk sharing with you how you can get into it. Right. So for me, Web3 is imminent, but I don't think you need to worry too much. I'm going to be sharing very practical ways on how you can learn about the space and prepare for the future. Right. So let's jump right into it. Let's answer the question: why do I need to care about NFTs? But before that, okay, I think we need to define what NFTs are in the first place. Right? So, very simply put, an NFT is a digital token that can represent physical or digital assets. Right? So these assets typically come in the form of art, music, collectibles, in-game items, and more. Okay, so I could give a whole talk about the technical side of this, but just for this talk and just to keep things simple, look at NFTs as a digital token, and they typically represent something physical or something digital. There's a lot of definitions being thrown around also about what the metaverse is. Okay, and I want to be able to simplify this. So, for me, the metaverse is not just digital worlds, right? To me, the metaverse is the space connecting both the physical and digital. Okay, it's where new business models will be created. Um, one I guess definition that I see a lot, right? It's they actually point to the movie Ready Player One. So hopefully you've been able to see that movie. But if you have not, it's essentially a movie about this character who lives and breathes basically in a digital world. I think that's an extreme. I personally don't think that we're going to be living completely in the digital world, and the metaverse is not a video game that we're just going to do everything in. To me, really, the metaverse is just that next step, right? To me, it's inevitable because eventually brands are going to be launching in this metaverse, which is again the space between physical and digital experiences, and brands are going to be disrupting the way that we communicate, socialize, trade, and collaborate with other people. So the way that I see it, the metaverse, it really is just the natural next step to where we are at now. Right? So now, right, we basically do anything and everything online. And the metaverse is just that next step where we will actually see more digital experiences bleed into the physical and vice versa. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that NFTs are digital tokens and they represent physical or digital assets. Now, again, just for your reference, here are some of the most common types of NFTs. Right, so the first one are PFPs and avatars. So PFP, it's short for profile picture. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later. But essentially, these are avatars, very similar to the characters that you see on screen that people use as profile pictures on their social media accounts. Another type of NFTs are one of one artwork. Okay, so this is one of the more popular types of NFTs or popular things that people turn into NFTs. So you have unique pieces of art that are either generated physically and then you create a digital or NFT component, or many times they just have the digital component and there's only just a digital file. The next type is generative art. So this is actually a very interesting conversation. Many of the pieces that you see right now are actually created by AI in various capacities using various software. Right. So hopefully there's another talk that can cover this because this can be an entire conversation in itself. But just again for your reference, generative art is also being used as NFTs. Collectibles at number four. This is another very popular way that NFTs are used, and it's actually one of the case studies that I'm going to be sharing later. Right, that many people, many brands rather, they use NFTs to generate collectibles that people actually use, trade, and collect. Photography also, again, very similar to the conversation around art. Photographies or photos, they're also being brought into the NFT space and turned into NFTs. This one is actually what I'm very excited about. We are going to see in the next few years artists and musicians choose to distribute their music instead of the typical record labels. They're going to be distributing it on decentralized platforms and have music NFTs, right? So as a wild example, and actually I'm hoping this kind of happens because I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. I fully expect that one day her future albums, instead of being published through a record label, she's actually going to publish it through another platform, and people get to own parts of her album and get all of the benefits and royalties associated with that. So I think that's going to be something that definitely happens in our lifetime. And then last, and then this is one of the reasons why NFTs have also become very popular here in the Philippines, gamified NFTs. Okay, so again, I wish I had a little bit more time to talk about this because I think gaming and NFTs in itself, it's such a broad topic, so many things to talk about. But just for your reference, many of these games like Big Axie and Axie Infinity and all of these upcoming games, they turn a lot of these digital assets in game, right? So the skins, abilities, all of these accessories that you can add to your characters, they've turned this into NFTs that you can buy, sell, trade as well via NFTs. And just to give you a reference as to how crazy this whole thing can get, here are some of the most expensive NFTs ever sold. So This crypto punk that you see, this is one of the examples of a PFP or an avatar. This particular one was sold for $6.6 million a while back. The ringers art piece that you see in the middle, this is generative art. This was sold for $7.1 million. And then Beeple, Human One. Okay, so Beeple is a very popular digital artist. This piece in particular sold for $28.9 million. Right, so many of these NFTs are, especially the ones that are being sold at these prices, these are exceptions. Okay, so not all NFTs are being sold for these crazy amounts, but this speaks volume to how people perceive this. That this is not just something that is going to go away. Right? There's liquidity, there's money coming into this space, and people want to buy pieces like this because of its historical value and because of what it means. So, how did we get to this point? I just want to answer this very quickly. News of people making a massive amount of money buying and selling NFTs have actually brought the liquidity into this space, right? So I won't be surprised if your first reference with NFTs might have been a news article talking about a celebrity buying in, or somebody being able to sell a picture of a monkey, for example, for X amount of millions of pesos, or dollars even. Um, Many people have gotten or many people uh, got into the space or finally took a look at the space because of the money that speculation has brought in. But if you only look at the people speculating on this, you miss the entire point. Okay, to me, NFTs are going to change the way brands build communities. Okay, now the speculation is always going to be part of it. You know, we are still going to see all of these news and these features about somebody selling an NFT for X amount. Okay, that's not going to go away. But if you only look at it like that, if you're only going to see this as something speculative and nothing else, I think you miss out the point. And as you're going to see in the case studies that I'm going to be sharing, it's not just about the speculating. In fact, it's much bigger than that. All right. So here are the three reasons why I think NFTs are going to make it, right? Or why you need to care, basically. So number one, it's pro artist. So royalties can actually be hard coded into the contracts that govern ownership of the NFT, right? So the idea here is that essentially artists can earn royalties forever. Right. So if you look at a very simple example, let's say I buy an art piece from a local artist here in the Philippines. So I'll get a physical piece, I'll hang it on my wall. I pay the artist, right? So the artist makes money. If I'm able to sell that art piece for a larger price later down the road, I take most of that value, and the artist actually makes none of that. Okay, but with NFTs, with how the technology behind it works, if I make that sale as an NFT, the artist who actually made the painting in the first place, they actually can still receive royalties, right? So this is one of the reasons why the conversation around NFTs is the way that it is. That it's actually for the creator, it's for the artist, and that we have technology now that allows us to continuously provide them value and continuously give them credit, both financially and through reputation, because the technology is friendly for the artist. The second reason why I think NFTs are going to change the way businesses operate is that it's a great way to empower your community. So brands that are utilizing NFTs give their communities a clear and creative way to truly be part of the business. Okay, and this just goes beyond. This goes beyond giving them rewards or giving them a discount, right? The product or the experience now of the business is now driven by both business and customer, because you have the business curating all of these digital and physical experiences, and then you have the customer that actually owns an NFT that, if you look at it another way, it represents ownership also of the experience. because that NFT allows you experience that you won't get elsewhere. And related to that, number three, this ownership unlocks the experience that I talked about. NFTs can unlock physical or online experiences for its holders. It's the way brands will reward their super fans and the way that super fans will display their brand love. And in the examples that I'm going to show you later on, you're going to see this very clearly, especially these last 2 points. That when you use NFTs in a way that it's supposed to be used, customers are going to see this as a way that they can prove their ownership over the experience and prove their brand love to you. And owning these NFTs allows the brands to curate and create all of these physical and digital experiences that are just for people who hold these NFTs. Now, to be fair, right, I also want to mention some of the cons. So the first one is that NFTs at the moment, they can be highly speculative. So we touched on this earlier, and unfortunately, many people speculate on NFTs, thus creating these huge influx of liquidity in the market and all of these news of people buying crazy things at crazy prices. Right? So with any new technology, people will speculate on it. That's just an unfortunate part of being in society. And then right now, it could be a detriment, right? And I think that's a fair argument that at the moment, people speculate highly on these things. Second, the barriers to entry are actually quite high. So NFTs might be a little too complicated for the average customer to understand. And in my opinion, we're still worlds away from being able to onboard millions of users, all while keeping them safe from scams and keeping the whole process simple. Right. So at the moment, if you want to participate and then buy an NFT, for example, you're going to have to download another wallet. You're going to have to set it up. You're going to have to connect to a marketplace. You're going to have to learn how to navigate through it safely. And I'm confident that one day that's going to be solved. But at the moment, in its current iteration, in my opinion, there's still quite some work that needs to be done in order to make this safe, simple, and easy to use. And then lastly, it's not yet in its final form. Okay, so like how brands went online for the very first time almost 2 decades ago, brands have yet to figure out completely how to use NFTs. There is no playbook yet, right? NFTs in its current state, with its current use cases, might not be the same in 10 to 15 years. Okay, and I really like this example, and I really like this point because it's always a great point for conversation. If you can imagine being a brand in the late 1990s, in the early 2000s, when you were first going online, nobody knew what to do. Right? Some things made sense. Some things were intuitive, but nobody knew exactly like how this is going to pan out. Right? And right now with NFTs, we're at a very similar point in time where fundamentally we understand what the technology can do. But on the other hand, because there aren't a lot of proven use cases yet, and because we don't have the benefit of time just yet, it's still very hard to see what the future might look like. Right. So to me, and again, like this is important. This is an important point because some of the case studies that I shared, that I'm going to be sharing with you, they are the use cases for today. But we don't know if these are going to be the use cases for the future. Right. But it's important, and I guess it's exciting also for me because being involved early now means you get to see these things unravel. Right. But again, just in the spirit of being fair, I think pointing out that the use cases today might not be the use cases of tomorrow is something that you need to know also. Now, just to end this part, and then this is one of my favorite questions to answer. Does it really need to be an NFT? Does art, does membership, does collectibles, like do all of these things really need to be an NFT? And I'm going to answer this in two parts. So the first part is, to be very honest with you, no, it doesn't have to be an NFT. Everything that I described so far and all of the use cases that I'm going to be talking about, they don't need to be an NFT, right? They don't need to be. I'll be the first one to tell you that. We have all of the tools in Web 2. We have all of the software in Web 2 that will allow for all of these things that I'm going to talk about to happen already. Right? So that's the first part. It does not need to be an NFT. But the second part, and this is I think the most important part, is why is it going to be an NFT? Right? Why are we going to be moving into that situation? And the way that I look at it is that at the end of the day, we're going to move into a world where the situation is best for the customer, right? And you don't have to look so far to see that that has always been the case. Innovations that have been good for the customer, that have been good for the market, has always won, right? And then just to give you an example, right? Let's go back to pre-social media, and let's say you're a food and beverage business. Do you really need to put your menu online? Right? Did you really need to be able to sell your food online? At that point in time, no, right? Very similarly, no. We have a physical restaurant. People can go here if they want. They can visit if they want. They can try the food there if they want, right? But when social media happened, and people discovered and learned and engaged with other brands online, restaurants were now forced to move their business online and make it available. They had to make their menu available digitally so people could see it. They needed to create content to show people a slice of the experience even before they got into the restaurant. They had to work with platforms like Grab and Food Panda and all of these e-commerce stores to allow people to order the food online. Because at the end of the day, that was what was good for the customer. Right? So that exact same conversation, I look at it in the same framework today. Number one, no, right? This all of the things that I'm going to be describing as use case studies, they don't have to be an NFT, right? They don't. Very similar to that restaurant example. But second part, and I guess, and again, the most crucial part, I believe that it's going to be an NFT because all of the benefits of the NFT of the NFT technology rather, it benefits the customer. At the end of the day, the customer, the community, the creators win. And time and time again, the world has moved towards that direction where whatever was good for the customer came out on top. Right? So that's how I'm going to wrap up this first part. All right, so part two. Let's talk about how brands are using NFTs today. Okay, and I'm going to share three case studies. One from the NBA with their product called the NBA Top Shot. The second one is from Nike and their partnership with Artifact. Sorry, that's a typo. It's supposed to be Artifact without the R in the middle. And then the third one is with Starbucks Odyssey, which is also their NFT project. We'll go through each one by one, and I'll show you a little bit of how NFTs are doing good for the customer. Okay, so the first case study is the NBA Top Shot. And the NBA Top Shot wants to be the social currency for NBA fandom. So these are digital collectibles in partnership with the NBA and Dapper Labs. So Dapper Labs is the company that founded this product. They're currently valued at $7.6 billion after the rounds of funding last year. And they've actually partnered directly with some NBA players. So actually some current and former NBA players are actually also investors in the platform. So instead of NBA trading cards, which we all know how it works, like you have a physical card with you, people are able to prove their fandom by collecting highlights or moments, right? So being digital means it's easier to buy, sell, gift, and trade these moments. It's easier to integrate with other technologies because everything is online and everything is on the blockchain. And the experience is also very unique because you are given ownership over the product. So this is how I look at it. What's the product of the NBA? Right? It's an entertainment product, and we all tune in to watch the basketball game. Right? We watch it live. We watch all of the action happen. Okay. Now, with an NBA Top Shot moment, you own a piece of the game, right? You own a highlight of the game, right? So in the example that I have here up on the screen, this block by LeBron James, so one play that has happened over the course of a game, I get to own that, right? And it's very interesting because owning it means I'm able to collect it. I'm able to sell it to somebody who might want it. I'm able to gift it to a friend or to a family member. And it's a great way to prove my fandom, right? To show people that I am a big LeBron James fan because here is my collection of LeBron James moments. And it's very interesting because as of this month, right, October 2022, Top Shot has done over $1 billion in sales volume in their marketplace, in their ecosystem, alongside 22 million transactions. Okay, you have to remember that Top Shot only really went public early 2021, right? So it hasn't even been 2 full years yet since they launched publicly. But they've already done $1 billion in sales volume in their ecosystem. And they have 22 million transactions over the last 24 months or so. And here's the best part, activations are already being done for users. Right? So Top Shot users in their varying capacities, they earn VIP tickets to games, they get exclusive prizes, they get access to exclusive activations, and they get to meet and greet players. It's amazing, right? It's a very simple mechanic, but it proves the point that people want to collect stuff, people want to own stuff, and they want their collections, the things that they own, they want it to unlock. They want be able to unlock rather physical and digital experiences, right? So I'm actually a huge Top Shot fan, and very interestingly enough, this is how I got into the space. I first discovered NBA Top Shot. I fell in love with the concept because I'm a huge fan. It made so much sense to me, and I've been a collector ever since. Okay. The second example is Artifact. Okay, so Artifact is a digital studio. They create avatars, next gen sneakers, and collectibles for the metaverse. So Artifact uses the latest in game engines, NFTs, blockchain authentication, and augmented reality, combined with their manufacturing expertise to create one of a kind sneakers and digital artifacts. So this is one of the biggest projects in this space, and if I'm not mistaken, they're in the top 10 biggest NFTs at the moment, right? So in terms of sales volume, like they're way up there in the top 10 of all projects in the world. And unsurprisingly, because they have done so well and people really love what they do, they were acquired by Nike, I think just under a year ago. So a little thing about avatars. Avatars are a way for people to express themselves, right? It gives people a sense of identity and a sense of community. Okay, so in the example that I'm sharing here, this is actually the co-founder of Artifact. He's using his Clonex, is what you call it. That's the name of the avatar. He's using his Clonex NFT as his profile picture. Okay, and this is actually a very common occurrence, right? So you see most of people that are NFT collectors and that are on Twitter, they actually use their favorite NFT as their profile picture. So these avatars, right, they unlock benefits and experiences only for people who hold the same avatars or PFPs, as we had called it earlier, right? So those two aspects, right? I have a piece of art that's an avatar. I can use it as my profile picture. It gives me a sense of identity and community. And it unlocks benefits that's only given to the community that I'm part of. And an example of this, before I jump into that example, here are other kind of avatars in that ecosystem, right? So these are all of the Clone X PFPs. And if you look at the bottom, right, you're going to see that only 7% of all the supply is listed. There are about 19,000 items only, meaning there are 19,000 avatars in circulation. And again, right, part of the experience is owning something that other people don't own, right? So these 19,000 or so Clonex avatars, they give holders access that nobody else is able to get. Right. So here's a great example. The Clone X community, it becomes a distribution channel for brands. who want to reach a certain audience. So a great example is Rimowa. So Rimowa, it's a luxury luggage company. Okay, so they partnered with Artifact to launch an exclusive NFT collection just for members. Okay, so winners of their raffle of their the little competition that they're doing, they receive an NFT, right? So the NFT that I just showed you today, right now, and a limited edition luggage. Okay, so it's not the best example, right? But it's how brands are going to be utilizing these communities in the future, right? So one conversation that I have always with as a marketer, right, with clients and brands is, okay, what targeting features are we going to select when we run our Facebook and TikTok ads, right? So we're going to choose interests, we're going to choose behavior, and then we run our content and distribute it on Facebook, TikTok, Google, wherever. Okay, the next iteration of that is actually brands choosing NFT communities that they want to partner with and distribute their content and products through them first. Right? So, as an example, because Artifact is partnered with Nike, they have that affiliation and they have a certain profile of collectors. Rimowa thought it was best that instead of launching with literally any other project in the space, they chose to launch it with this community instead. So, in the future, I really do see brands making decisions like that to complement anything that they do through Facebook and TikTok and Google, for example. They're going to be partnering with NFT communities and launching experiences simultaneously. Okay. The last example is Starbucks. So the Starbucks Odyssey is the name of their Web3 project. It's the revolutionary Web3 experience for its Starbucks rewards members. So if you're not familiar, no, the Starbucks rewards program, it's actually one of the best programs in the world. I may have a bias because I'm a big Starbucks fan, and I use the app and the reward system a lot. But it's a really great experience, and it's really top tier. So many brands will say that they give you a reward system or you can collect points, but to me, many of these experiences are subpar. Right, they're very basic. Starbucks in itself already with its reward system is actually already very good. Right. In fact, I will make the argument that it's one of the best reward systems out there. Now they recognize that they are, kind of up there in terms of experiences, and they want to be able to infuse Web3 and NFTs now to just take that further. So they introduced very recently, actually, this is news just a couple of weeks old. They released, or they're going to be releasing the Starbucks Odyssey experience. So this experience is going to offer members the ability to earn and buy digital collectible stamps, or this is what they're going to be turning into NFTs that will unlock access to new immersive coffee experiences. So once you're logged into the app that they have, members can engage in Starbucks Odyssey journeys. Okay, so it's a series of activities such as playing interactive games or taking on fun challenges, both physically and digitally, to deepen their knowledge of coffee and Starbucks. Members will be rewarded for completing journeys with a digital collectible journey stamp. So each stamp will include a point value based on its rarity, and these stamps can be bought or sold among members within the marketplace. Okay, so these stamps are collected. As these stamps are collected, members' points will increase, unlocking access to unique benefits and experiences that have never been offered before. Right. So this to me, I'm super excited about because other than being a fan of the brand, I think gamifying the whole loyalty program is a great way to get people into your ecosystem, right? And I think that Starbucks understands this dynamic really well, and the way that they're going to be executing this is actually very exciting. So if I'm not mistaken, they are going to be launching this early next year, so you can join the wait list if you're interested. So you can bet that I've already signed up, and I tried to see if I could get into that early. Right. So these three examples, right? NBA Top Shot as social currency, right? Nike and Artifact as avatars and exclusive experiences. Starbucks Odyssey as rewards and membership. These are some of the early case studies for NFTs now, and you see a couple of recurring themes already. Okay, NFTs, as shown by these brands, okay, will allow brands to, number one, give customers provable ownership over the product experience. They own a piece now of the experience, okay, because the NFT is the experience. Owning the NFT is the experience, and that is always going to be good for the customer because that gives them ownership, right? That gives them skin in the game, and now they care about your business in more ways than just buying your products. Right. Second, you're able to create digital and physical experiences for your biggest and most loyal fans. Okay, so the NBA Top Shot is a good example. If to you want to express your fandom in just buying jerseys or going to the arena games, that's fine, right? You can do that, and the NBA will continue to reward you for doing that. But if you want to unlock that next step, right? If you want to be able to unlock experiences that are fit for bigger fans like you, right? You come into Top Shot, you buy the moments of the players and the teams that you like. Collecting these things gives you all of these experiences and opportunities, right? To really really live out the brand, right? So uh to me, right, to me, this is not binary, right? You're not going to have to own an NFT. I see it really more as a spectrum. That if for you, you're on this side of the spectrum and you just want to experience a brand in a certain way, that's fine, and you'll be able to continue to do that. But for the bigger fans, right, like for fans like me who are super into the NBA, who are super into Starbucks, and I really just want to continue experiencing the brand in different ways, owning that NFT or owning their NFTs will allow me to do that. Right, and it feels great. It feels great to be rewarded for the fandom that I have, that I am part of. And then lastly, and I think this is the most important point, NFTs will allow or push brands to drive a community-driven product strategy. Right, the model that has existed for so long was that brands will create a product and then they will find a community, right, to experience that product. And then that's just how businesses have operated for forever. Right? What NFTs will do, it's going to change the philosophy and the belief system a little bit. Right? Now you're going to be launching a community that's sold on the vision that you have, and then you're going to build the product and the experience around that community, right? So it's community driven, right? It's not product driven. And to me, this is going to be the play for the brands for brands in the future. Because again, going to our previous point earlier, what is good for the customer will always win, right? And to me, right, giving the customer all of these unique experiences, giving the customer ownership over an asset that a brand provides, that's what's good for the customer, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what will bring us joy. That will bring us a sense of identity and community, and it's going to be what I believe brands are going to be doing in the future. All right, so lastly, no, I just want to talk about what you can do today. Okay, what is it that you can start on or do to get familiar with this space, right? So if everything that I've said to you up to this point has made a lot of sense and you're super excited about it and you really, really want to be able to participate, like what is it that you can do? The biggest advice that I can give is this. Okay, before you build, I highly, highly advise you to first participate. So many people just want to extract from this space because they see the money opportunity, right? They want to extract without even knowing what makes it special. Okay? There's a reason why people gravitate towards the space. There's a reason why people are willing to spend on avatars and art and collectibles. And if you genuinely want to serve customers, if you genuinely care about community, the best thing to do is to participate. Because to me, this isn't just a shift in technology, right? This is not just us going online or setting up a social media account. For me, it's a shift in ethos as well. It's a shift in the belief system. Because Web3 and all of the values associated with it will push brands to really think about community and think about community first by giving them ownership over the physical and digital experiences that they're going to be curating. Right? So it's not just us going online. Right? It's not just again going onto social media. It's not just a new tech thing. It's a new philosophy, right? It's a new belief system, and you need to see that first in action before you build. Okay, so before you get into building NFTs, before you create your first one, right? Before you launch your brand into that line of thinking, I highly recommend that you first participate, and you could do that in a couple of ways. So the first one, and to me, this is the best way to do it. You just go out and own an NFT, right? Go through the process of owning an NFT of your choice, whether that's the photography, the art, the avatars, the collectibles, whatever speaks to you. Right? Get curious with it. Get frustrated with how the onboarding process works. Get excited about what it can do. Because I went through that. Right? I went through that whole motion of being curious, being frustrated that I didn't know how to set up my wallet. I didn't know how to set up my crypto. Then I got excited because I was part of the community, and I felt heard. I felt like I belonged. And that whole roller coaster of emotions, right, has just led me to the point of where I'm just super excited about it. I'm super bullish about the space. And there's really no other way to replace that, right? Go out and own an NFT, and then you'll be farther ahead in terms of your insights and your knowledge about the space. Okay, the second thing, join the discussions. Right, so most NFT projects actually manage a group on Facebook. They have Twitter threads and messenger chats. They're on Discord also, or Telegram. Spend 15 to 20 minutes there. Speak to fellow collectors. Speak to people who are also thinking of getting into the space. Learn, observe, and then soon enough you'll realize and you'll understand what makes a space special. And it's the people in it. It's the community that revolves around the product. And that's why, and if you do your research a little bit, you're going to find that many celebrities that tried to get in on the action, right? They tried to capitalize on their name, and they thought that people would want to be interested in buying their NFTs. You'll find that many of them failed, right? Because people can see that a mile away, right? People see that, okay, like this guy or this artist, they just want to extract from this space. They're not really sincere about building community. And then you're going to find out that if you approach this as a brand and you only just want to get into it because it's the next shiny thing, you're not going to be set up for success, because people are genuinely uh invested, right, into this into the success of your product, into the success of your community. And if there is no community, or if there is no good community, more often than not your project doesn't find success. Third way that you can participate, and this is a great way to do so also, is actually to go to networking events. The space here in the Philippines, it's super active. There's a lot of talented people, and the best people really to meet are the ones building and creating in this space. Many of them are humble, they're open, they're curious, just like you, and being around those kinds of folks, it's very inspiring, right? I tend to make it a point to attend both physical and digital networking events, just because I like learning, right? I like learning how people think about NFTs. I like how they're using NFTs, and it's just the best way to learn, right? Just looking and seeing what other people do. And then lastly, and this I guess is just homework that I can leave with you. Learn about Bitcoin and Ethereum. These are the two biggest cryptocurrencies in the world right now. The reasons why they exist, it's actually very fundamental to this whole ethos that I was talking about earlier. So if you learn how they work, you'll understand why Web3 makes sense. Okay, so I know a lot of the things that we discussed earlier is about NFTs, about the technology, about how brands are going to use it, but they actually all stem from the values and the technology that Bitcoin and Ethereum first made popular. Right? So if you wanna, if you're a bit of a history geek and you wanna go deeper into history and figure out like why Web3 makes sense, I think falling into the rabbit hole of Bitcoin and Ethereum and learning all about both these cryptocurrencies, I think it's a great way to learn about the space also. So that's it. Thank you so much for your time. I hope I was able to impart something meaningful and useful for you. If you would like to learn more about me or what I'm doing, or pick my brain a little bit, very happy to connect with you in all of these different channels. You can follow me on Twitter. That's Miggy_AZ. You can also follow me on LinkedIn. That's Miggy Azurin. Or if you just want to read more about my profile and how I got started into this space, you can also visit my personal website at miggyazurin.com. Again, I'd like to thank you so much for your time. This is really fun. Although I really wish we got to do this in person, but maybe for some other time. I am very confident that we will be able to have these conversations in the real world. I hope you enjoyed, and I really do recommend that you take a look and you learn from all of the other speakers that are speaking at the Philippine Startup Week. What these guys are doing both in the metaverse and outside of the metaverse are very inspiring, right? And there's really nothing like being around other entrepreneurs and creators. So after my talk, head on to the other talks, learn from other people, and hopefully you find what you're looking for, and hopefully you find the inspiration to start with whatever it is that you want to do. Right? Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you around.